Hello and welcome. Here are the top stories. Polls shows Trump and Harris in tie before first debate. Latvia, Romania claim Russian drones breached airspace. Israeli strikes kills 14 in central Syria according to report. Venezuelan opposition leader seeks asylum in Spain. And fugitive preacher wanted by FBI court in Philippines. Stay with me for these more stories. On U.S. 2024 election, according to polls released 2 days before, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump hold their first and potentially only televised debate. The U.S. presidential race remains neck and neck. The U.S. polling confirms that Trump maintains locked-in backing from almost half of voters, despite the Republican's historic status as a convicted criminal and his role in instigating the unprecedented attempt to overturn his 2020 loss to Joe Biden. Harris, who only jumped into the race after President Biden quit in July, has quickly transformed herself from a little-noticed vice president into a serious contender. However, the polls show she has not made a major breakthrough leaving the race. A toss-up. The polls suggested that 78-year-old Trump leads Harris nationally by 48 to 47%, well within the margin of error. The U.S. presidential polls are decided by tallying the results of state-by-state contests rather than overall national popular vote, meaning that a tiny handful of swing states typically determine the outcome. The polls suggested that Harris, 59, was slightly ahead in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and tied in 4 other state wings: Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona. The election is already chaotic, with 81-year-old Biden dropping out amid worries over his age, Trump narrowly surviving an assassin's bullet at a rally, and rising fears that Trump will again refuse to concede if he loses in November. The newest numbers, however, confirm that each candidate retains a remarkably stable base of loyalists, almost evenly split in the country. Trump will be under pressure to rein in his characteristic use of insults and intimidation as he stands next to a mid-race candidate vying to become the first female president in U.S. history. Harris will need to use the huge audience to link with voters in a way that she was unable to as vice president, and has little time to accomplish her super condensed campaign run. With Trump now the oldest presidential nominee in U.S. history, she is pitching an optimistic, forward-looking message in contrast to Trump's apocalyptic claims that the country faces terminal decline without him in the White House. But Harris has also been accused of running on vague optimism and unity at the expense of putting out concrete policies. Late on Sunday, she finally addressed the rising pressure when her campaign put out a policy page touching on subjects from unions and cost of living issues to healthcare. NATO members Latvia and Romania, who are allies of Ukraine, have said that Russian drones violated their airspace. Romania said a Russian drone entered its airspace during nighttime attack across the Danube River in neighboring Ukraine in the early hours of Sunday, while Latvia said one crashed in the eastern part of the country a day earlier. Bucharest deployed 4 F-16 fighters jets to monitor its airspace, and that a search for the weapon's debris was underway at a potential crash site close to the border, Romania's Ministry of National Defense said. Bucharest strongly condemned the renewed violation brought on by Moscow's illegal attacks. Meanwhile, Latvia's President Edgars Rinkēvičs said a Russian military drone had crashed in the eastern part of its territory. The Defense Ministry said the drone had flown into the country's airspace from Belarus and crashed around Reskeni, a town of about 25,000 people, some 55 kilometers 34 miles west of Russia and 75 kilometers 47 miles from Belarus, a close ally of the Kremlin. While the invasion into Latvian airspace appeared to be a sporadic incident, Romania has confirmed drone fragments on its territory on many occasions since Russia started its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Romania shares 650 kilometers 400-mile border with Ukraine. Mircea Ghiona, NATO's outgoing Deputy Secretary General and Romania's former top diplomat, said the military alliance condemned Russia's violation of Romanian airspace. While we have no information indicating an intentional attack by Russia against allies, these acts are irresponsible and potentially dangerous, he said. Russia has carried out constant nighttime raids on cities across Ukraine, frequently aiming its Dunabe River ports, which are just a few hundred meters from Romania. Andriy Sybiha, Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs, condemned the breaches of Romanian and Latvian airspace, calling them a stark reminder that Russia's aggressive actions extend beyond Ukraine. He added that Ukraine required concrete action from its allies. Poland has also recorded at least 2 cases of its airspace being violated by Russian missiles or drones attacking Ukraine, most recently in December. Romanian lawmakers plan to consider legislation at their present session on permitting Romania to shoot down drones invading the country's airspace in peacetime. According to reports, Israeli missiles have killed no less than 14 people in central Syria, raising an earlier toll of 5 dead and 19 injured. The attack on Sunday also triggered a fire and caused material damage near the city of Misyaf, west of Hama, according to report. An unidentified security official said Israel launched an aerial aggression from Lebanese airspace against several Syrian military installments. The source added that Syrian air defenses confronted and shot down some of the missiles. Israeli jets have launched raids against Syria from Lebanon, likely to avoid Syrian airspace, where several regional and international forces, including those of Russia and the United States, operate. Reports said the director of public hospital in Misyaf said the casualties were civilians. Throughout Syria's 13-year civil war, Israel has regularly carried out air attacks in the country, mostly aiming Iran-linked sites, but the Israeli military does not confirm or comment on its operations in Syria. Sunday's attack comes amid rising regional tensions, with Iranian officials still vowing to react to the assassination of Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran in July. Iran, which maintains a military presence in Syria, had vowed harsh punishment for Israel over the killing, but not Iranian attack has materialized more than 40 days after the assassination. Last week, Mohsen Chazari, a top Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps commander, said Iran's response is coming in due time. In April, Iran launched a direct attack on Israel with hundreds of drones and missiles in response to the Israeli bombing of an Iranian diplomatic facility in Damascus. Israeli and U.S. air defenses in the region helped shoot down most of the projectiles, minimizing the damage of the attack. Hezbollah separately carried out its own attack against Israel on August 25th, responding to the killing of one of its top commanders in an Israeli air raid in Beirut, which also killed several civilians. Israel had said that it thwarted the operation with a preemptive attack, but the Iran-allied Lebanese group said it successfully hit an Israeli military intelligence site near Tel Aviv. Cross-border hostilities between Hezbollah and Israel have continued on near-daily basis. Hezbollah says it is targeting military sites in northern Israel and Syria's occupied Golan Heights in support of Palestinians in Gaza, where the ongoing Israeli offensive has killed over 40,900 people. The Lebanese group has vowed to continue its military operations until the war in Gaza ends, while Israeli officials have promised to push Hezbollah off the country's border, including by all-out war, if needed. Now on Sunday afternoon, Edmundo Gonzalez, Venezuela opposition leader, landed in Madrid, Spain, said after fleeing his home country with an arrest warrant accusing him of terrorism, conspiracy and other crimes linked to July's disputed presidential poll. Gonzalez, his wife and Spanish officials landed at the Torrejón de Ardoz military air base, according to a statement from Spain's foreign ministry. He is now seeking asylum in Spain, the report says. He said on Sunday his departure from the country came despite coercion and threats that he will not be allowed to leave, though he did not make explicit who had made those threats. In an audio note by his press team, Gonzalez said he trusts that very soon we will continue the fight for freedom and democracy in Venezuela, and thanked his followers for their message of solidarity, according to report. Tariq Williams, Saab, Venezuela's Attorney General, said on Sunday that authorities will close the case against Gonzalez after his departure. Since the poll, Venezuela has been in a state of crisis in which authoritarian incumbent Nicolas Maduro was declared the winner by the country's electoral authority, a body stacked with its allies with 51% of the vote. But tens of thousands of tallies published by the opposition showed a convincing win for Gonzalez. Venezuela's opposition and several Latin American leaders refused to recognize Maduro's victory, which stoked deadly protests during which thousands were arrested. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, in a statement on Sunday, said Gonzalez's departure was the direct result of anti-democratic measures. A day earlier, Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez said in a statement that Gonzalez has left the country and requested political asylum from Spain. She added that Gonzalez had been staying at Spain's embassy in the capital, Caracas, as a voluntary refugee, and that Venezuela allowed him to leave for the sake of tranquility and political peace of the country. Apollo Corion Quiboloy, Filipino pastor who is wanted by both the FBI and local law enforcement officials on sexual abuse and human trafficking charges, has been detained weeks after a standoff with the police. The arrest ends a tense showdown between the pastor's supporters and police who had surrounded a compound in the country's south where Quiboloy had holed up. The Philippines Interior Minister Ben-Hur Abalos, in post on Facebook, confirmed that the preacher, who had been on the run for 3 years, has been caught. National Police arrested Quiboloy, a self-styled appointed son of God and founder of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ Church, along with 4 of his aides in the southern city of Davao after they surrendered, according to report. At 1:30 p.m. local time, the detainees were issued a 24-hour ultimatum to come out from the church's sprawling 30-hectare compound. They surrounded 4 hours later, a report from Philippines said. According to more reports, they have since been transported out of Davao by military aircraft and arrived at the National Police Headquarters in Manila on Sunday night, along with 4 of his aides. Director of Police Regional Office 11, Brigadier General Nicolas Torre III, said, according to report, "I thank him for the realization to face the law. I also thanked the KOGC members and supporters for their cooperation, and I hope this is the start of healing." Police had been trying to arrest the preacher and 5 of his alleged accomplices in a raid that started over 2 weeks ago in Davao. Closely 2,000 officers surrounded the church compound where Quiboloy was believed to be hiding. His followers allegedly threw stones at officers and blocked the highway with burning tires, according to police. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said, according to reports on Monday, it was a relief that Quiboloy had been arrested after a massive police and army operation, and added the pastor was entitled to due process. On more stories now, Boeing offers 25% pay rise to prevent staff strike. Boeing is offering its staff a 25% pay surge over a 4-year contract in a bid to avert a strike that could potentially close its assembly lines as early as Friday. Union leaders representing over 30,000 employees have urged the workers to support the proposal, describing it as the best contract they have ever negotiated. If approved, the agreement will be a major achievement for Boeing's new chief executive, Coley Ortberg, who faces pressure to fix the company's quality and reputational issues. On the deal on Thursday, Boeing workers in Seattle and Portland region are set to vote. A strike can still happen if 2/3 of union members support in a separate vote. The aerospace giant's chief operating officer, Stephanie Pope, in a video message to Boeing workers, described the proposal as a historic offer. If ratified by union members, it will be the first full labor agreement between the firm and the unions in 16 years. Though the tentative deal did not match the union's initial aim of a 40% pay hike, negotiators still praised it and advised members to accept it. A statement from the International Association of Mechanists and Aerospace Workers, IAM, "We can honestly say that this proposal is the best contract we've negotiated in our history. Aside from the pay bump, the deal offers workers better healthcare and retirement benefits and a commitment by Boeing to build its next commercial airplane in the Seattle area. It also gives the union members more say on safety and quality issues." Last month, Ortberg, an aerospace industry veteran and engineer, took over as Boeing's new chief executive. His appointment came as the firm reported deepening financial losses and continued to struggle to repair its reputation following recent in-flight incidents and 2 fatal accidents 5 years ago. In Africa now, Kenya's school fire death toll reaches at least 21. In central Kenya, the death toll in a devastating fire at a school in Nyeri has risen to at least 21 after more bodies were found on the weekend. 19 of them were recovered at the scene at Hillside and Darasha Primary School, where 2 children died of their wounds in hospital. Government pathologist Johansen Odwa said We were able to get 19 bodies. These bodies are burnt greatly to a great extent, to such an extent that it will be very impossible for the parents to be able to identify them. It is being reported that DNA testing will start on Monday to identify the children, but officials warn this will take days. The fire on Thursday night razed a dormitory that was housing 156 boys aged between 10 and 14. Over 100 of them have been accounted, while at least 17 children still remain missing. The government has urged those who rescued students on Thursday night's blaze to bring them back to the school to help with tracing. The site has been sealed off for analysis, but the cause of the fire still remains unknown. President William Ruto has declared a 3-day national mourning period to start on Monday. The updated death toll comes as the Red Cross reported another fire at a school, this time a girls' boarding school in Isiolo town in central Kenya. According to report, at least 3 students were wounded in the blaze, which destroyed dormitories before being contained. There have been numerous fires at Kenyan boarding schools in recent years, stoking concerns about safety standards. The government has urged school administrators to enforce boarding guidelines that necessitate dormitories to be spacious, with 3 doors and no grills on windows for easy escape in case of fires. Numerous students board because parents believe it gives them more time to study without long commutes. On electoral matters, Algeria's president wins re-election with almost 95% vote. Abdelmajid Tebboune, Algeria's incumbent president, has been re-elected with almost 95% of the vote, the country's electoral authority ANEI said on Sunday. Over 5.3 million people voted for Tebboune, accounting for 94.65% of the vote, and head Mohamed Cherfi said, according to report. Tebboune, 78, was heavily favored to secure a 5-year second term in a race against moderate Islamist Abdelali Hassani, 57, who took 3.17% of the vote, and socialist candidate Youssef Al-Chiche, 41, who won 2.16%. While his re-election was sure, his major focus was boosting voter participation in Saturday's poll after a record abstention rate of 60% in 2019. That year, Tebboune became president after extensively boycotted elections and mass pro-democracy protests from 2019 that died out under his tenure as policy increased and hundreds were put in jail. Over 24 million Algerians were registered to vote, but ANIE didn't say how many people in total had turned out to cast their ballot on Saturday. In a statement late on Sunday, French President Emmanuel Macron sent his warmest congratulations, highlighting the exceptional relationship between the nations despite frequent tensions. He added, "Dialogue between our two countries is essential." We take a short break now. When I come back, I'll bring you more stories from Nigeria. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Now stories from Nigeria. Petrol price hike, Nigerians struggling, NLC and Atiku warn. On the weekend, the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC and ex-Vice President Atiku Abubakar warned that a hike in petrol price by the federal government has put most Nigerians at a breaking point. This came as yesterday human rights lawyer Femi Falana's son urged the federal government to ensure the completion of rehabilitation of the nation's refineries by September 2024 or take legal action against the contractors for breaching their contracts. Also, this is even as the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project Serap yesterday asked President Bola Tinubu to direct the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) to instantly reverse the apparently illegal and unconstitutional addition in the pump price of petrol across its retail outlets. While the NLC asked Nigerians to revolt against the price hike, Atiku said the situation of the average Nigeria and the economy will be further compounded by plans by the government to increase value-added tax VAT, coming on the heels of the recent hike in petrol price. NLC, which insisted on the reversal of the price addition, specifically called on Nigerians to join the government's quest to interrogate the horrifying petrol price hike. Joe Ajaero, president of NLC, who was represented by the deputy president, and President General of Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria (MWUN), Prince Adewale Adeyanju, stated this at the 2024 annual workshop organized by Labour Writers Association of Nigeria (LAWAN) with the theme Challenges of Nigeria's Economic Downturn, Survival Options for Workers. And finally on the news, in a sad turn of events, Niger tanker kills at least 48 passengers. 48 persons confirmed dead in the petrol tanker explosion on Sunday were given a mass burial in the Igi local government area of Niger State. According to reports, the incident happened in the early hours of Sunday when the petrol tanker had a head-on collision with a truck loaded with travelers and cattle from Wudil in Kano State. Abdullahi Baba Arab, the Director General of Niger State Emergency Management Agency, who gave the update, also confirmed that the 48 persons were burnt beyond recognition, compelling the mass burial in the local government. According to him, following further search and rescue operations, 18 more bodies were found from the 30 bodies earlier reported. In the statement, Baba Arab revealed this, where he asserted that the incident happened at about 12:30 a.m. local time along Lapai Agay, 2 kilometers from the Dendo community in Agay local government area. He also said over 50 cattle were burnt and a crane truck and a pickup van were caught up in the inferno. A recap of major stories says polls shows Trump and Harris in a tie before first debate. Latvia, Romania claim Russian drones breached airspace. Israeli strike kills 14 in central Syria, according to report. Venezuelan opposition leader seeks asylum in Spain. And fugitive preacher wanted by FBI caught in the Philippines. And that's all on the news. Thanks for watching. Have a great week ahead.